Bienvenidos and welcome to Nuestro Papi, a podcast series about my grandfather, Pedro Enrique Prado Pina. And we are lucky to have him here on the line today. Papi, dímelo todo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I feel fantastic. I have already did my walking, my exercises, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I even noticed that you went over our notes for today's episode, which is going to be about your early life, your childhood memories. You already looked at them. You even took some notes. You shared them back. I thank you for that. Are you excited for what we're going to talk about today?
Oh, yes. It's, of course, at that age, that was a long time ago, and it's hard to recollect everything. But here and there, a flash come here, and we'll be able to do some work on that.
Yeah, but I'm sure your memory is perfect, Papi. You're like an elephant, you know? You don't forget anything, right?
Well, I lost weight, so I know. Just kidding.
That's great, Papi. Well, last time we spoke, it was really, we're still getting things going. We talked about your early, not your early life, but life before you were even born. You know, we set the stage for what is Ciego de Avila? What was Cuba like at that time when you were born in 1943? You described your family. We talked about a lot of really kind of setting the scene. And now that we're flowing now, we're here at your birth and your story's begun. And now, Papi, remind us, how old are you now?
Well, I'm 81 years old, and in July I'll be 82, and believe me, I never expected to last this long, but I thank God every day and every morning when I wake up.
That's 80. Wow. So we're traveling back 8 decades of memory right now. 80 years, more or less, más o menos. And so I think we all understand if you forget a few things from your childhood, but at the same time, I think we all can remember aspects of our childhood, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So why don't we go ahead and get started with some questions, have some conversation? How's that sound to you?
Perfect. Let's go for it.
All right. So we're going to travel back to Ciego. We're in the central city of Ciego de Avila, your birthplace. It was a province of Camagüey. Now it's its own province. Tell us, Papi, your family, your friends, all of us who are dying to know, what are some of your first memories?
All I remember, because, when you're a kid, all you're thinking is about playing and, my friends and playing and doing things that, we play right on the street. There was not that many cars. It was a neighborhood. My cousins lived right next to me or across the street. And then friends who were around there, we used to go and do kind of playing and enjoy it. And that was the main thing, was to have that ability. And 9 o'clock was the curfew. 9 o'clock you had to go inside the house. That was no question ever asked. So, but I can remember a bunch when we decided to build a little fortress I had a big tree in the backyard of my house, Mamoncillo tree, and we built like a little house there, and I don't know if I told you this already, but we built like a cannon of carbon, and we used to blow them up and fight with another group of kids from a block away, and and that was very same type of thing. There was nothing, once in a while I got hurt or something like that, and run to the emergency, but you come back and start playing again, and yeah, you remember the day you got your first bike. That was fabulous because now I can go faster than running. And, of course, I end up in the ground, too. So I know some of the things that, stay in your mind. Your cousins and your friends from that time that I'm lucky enough that I still have contact with a couple of them. They are here in the United States. And we talk to each other and get some input about those times that we used to enjoy as a kid, and then later on as a teenager, and then as a Castro came in and then grew up, everybody went in a different direction. But those memories always stay with us, and it's good. We get together, then a lot of things come out because somebody remember one thing and the other person remember the other one.
So did you have any nicknames?
I mean, Pedro Enrique, that's the way my mom always wanted to call me. She used to call me Pee-wee sometimes.
Pee-wee?
Pee-wee. I don't know what it's, but she always, not always, but sometimes she called me Pee-wee. And Pedro Enrique was my name. When she said Pedro Enrique, means I'd be doing something bad. So I knew by the tone of her voice, hey, correct your action. And I know in my house, I mean, you have to be there at lunchtime and at dinner time, 6 o'clock, you have to sit at the table and don't talk until you get permission. And a couple of times that I didn't do it, my dad corrected me, and you learn to be, in a atmosphere of respect. Like my dad says, los niños hablan cuando las gallinas mean. In English, kids can talk when chickens pee. Yeah. They don't pee, they only shit. So you never talk.
How did Abuelo correct you? I didn't know we were going to go down this topic, but...
A quick slap. Boom! And you fly out of the chair, and then you get back, sit down, and keep your mouth shut. I know that was the way that education was done then, because it came from Spain, and, it had to be very structured and rough, you might say, but I know they love me. When they tried to correct me, was for me because I was doing something wrong. So, and sometimes you need to do that to come back and say, "Hey, I better listen," because that's the main thing, is to listen when you are a kid, so you can learn. And I guess if I have any regret, is that I didn't listen to my dad and my mom advice more often, or more, because you think you know it all, you are ahead of the old man and your mom because you are young, and that's not true. There's a lot of things in life that doesn't matter the time, they are always consistent. And one is that respect and love, and those are things that you need to learn, and you try then to pass it on to your kids. And then your kids will challenge you because that's life.
And we'll get back to, I know down the road in this series, Papi, we'll definitely get back to some of the advice too that Abuela gave to your parents, especially before you were heading to the U.S. and even the advice that they gave you as you were parenting and down the road. But for now, like let's go back to little Pedro Enrique. Or Pee-wee.
My mom always liked for all my friends to come and play because we had a backyard and at house, so she could keep an eye on me, and that was always it. Hey, until then finally, I grow up, got my back, then I got a little more freedom to go places and things like that. But my life was very, very concentrated to have my friend over the house. We had a tree, Wida tree that was very flexible. We used to come in from school, climb out there, and like a boat going here and there until I had the idea to cut it and a little bit and wait for them to do it. And when the tree broke up, it landed on my back. So I learned my lesson. When you do bad things happen to you. So you have to be careful. And but we used to, like I said, do things in the Anuncillo plant. We built a little gym in the backyard. So we always doing things that more or less will stay home. If we play on the street, and the shoemaker on the corner and his assistant, they watch over us. They were part of a group, like take a village to raise a kid. Well, all these kids, and Valentin, the zapatero there, he always watching. He did sing for us to play the kimbungia. It was such a healthy and innocent life. And I remember now one thing when I was going to kindergarten, and it was across the street from my house, and they had the door, but then when they opened the door, there was like a paravan, so the air can circulate. There was no air conditioning then. And when they take me to the school, when the teacher was looking the other way, I sneak under and run home. They had to bring me back. And my mom says, finally I understood, hey, I had to learn to stay in school. But, most of the time, all I enjoyed was being with friends and my cousins and have fun playing. There was no pressure to do anything else, so I think TV was coming around at that time, and then we got a TV, and then now you can watch a little TV, and during the day we listen to the radio, right. Different programs of that were funny, and some were, about the scenes about soap opera type of things, but action, and gosh, I can't even remember some of the names, but the Tampún, El Vengador Errante, there were all kind of programs there. The kids, we listened to it. So, and that's then when you go to school, and then you share with the other friends in the school. Hey, you heard the episode today that so and so, this and that. So that was the life,
So what you're saying, Papi, is, we're talking you were born in 1943, so we can assume that you're talking about the mid-50s, right? When you're 8, 9, 10 years old. Yeah. So you guys didn't have Netflix or Facebook or Instagram or anything like that?
No. I remember the telephone is one that you had to roll it 2 times large and one short is this one. It was crazy. Then later on the rotary one, and then today the telephone has everything. It can no control, but it can give you your heart situation. You have every note. You can put there every day of every person, and it has so much, and then communicate with the whole world. You're in Spain, I'm here, and we're communicating. Send to a computer, a telephone, a message, and that's what made this world that is moving so fast in progress that it's hard to assimilate all that
or keep up.
And especially when I come from an older school, that change will take years. Here, changes take 2 months. It's a new technology and that one that is better, and so it's you have to quick adapt to those things. But they are hard for us too because we don't have the understanding in a school that was. You don't even have an iron machine. You have to do everything with your brain.
How would you have described yourself as a 10-year-old boy?
Well, according with my cousins, I was kind of crazy. That was they were local. I was local because. We play baseball, when I say out is out. If somebody say no, we have a fight. And I was kind of also crazy. I went to a circus and I saw that they throw a ball to a person in a hole and you hit the face. Well, so I went back and told my cousin, Jose Luis, that is in Spain now, okay, I'm going to hide behind this wall here. And when I show my face, you can throw this, but we didn't have anything to throw but rocks. So, boom! One of the rocks hit me, went down. That was the main time is that we don't have much space. Like today, you can travel to places. Over there was just our neighborhood, and you explained it earlier. And then the other group was there, and sometimes we were friends, sometimes we were not, but that's how, we do life. Was simple, very simple life.
We're going to transition a little bit because you mentioned that your world was small. You had even down to your barrio, your district, your neighborhood. Yeah. So what were some of the first memories you have leaving Ciego?
Memories to leave here, we went on vacation to Varadero Beach. That was things that we did every year. My dad would spend a month, and that was always, and a ton of pictures and fun too again, and then sent a couple of trips to Havana. But to leave, it was then until the revolution. I had to leave in 1962. Then that was a big jump. But before that, it was, even if you leave, you were living with your family, your mom and dad, and always they were there in Havana or in Varadero. Ciego de Avila, and
I'm curious, Papi, when you were a kid, can you remember back to when you were packing, or maybe your mom was packing for you, but when you all were making your trip to Varadero or Havana, were you excited to leave Ciego and go somewhere different?
Oh yeah, that really. I mean, that thing is because it's planned. My dad, he knew that every month, this month, he'd take off, and the planning. And yeah, my mom did all the packing for me, and she was a good seamster, and she did a lot of my clothes. She always did it. We look at some of the American magazine, and I like that one, and she would do it even if it had to be netted. It was incredible. And very resourceful.
Yeah.
So it was fun, I mean, to go and then to go to Havana. That was, wow, what an experience. We went to the zoo and, all these things, walking in the Havana by the capital, and all the streets were always full of people. It was an incredible experience, Although in Ciego de Avila, we got only one street with all the commerce, Independencia. But it was all the time with people, so it was really parque. I mean, so you try to relay those things back and forth. So
it's kind of like where we live here, Papi. I wish you could come see, because I think you'd really, you see the influence that Spain had on Cuba and its development of urban environments and parks and just the way that the culture is. But it's funny, in Logroño where we live, it's a small city. I mean, it's bigger than, maybe it's about Ciego. It's probably like 150,000 people now, but it's very urban. Everything's concentrated. Not everyone's spread out. So there's people are always out. It's crazy. And everyone walks, just like in Ciego, it's just very different. How did it feel to go back to Ciego? When you would go to Havana, you go to Varadero, did it feel good to come back home?
Oh yeah, because number one, they buy toys for you there. And one of the biggest things was the thing that you blow and the bubble comes out. I remember that, going to the 10-cent store. And, that was. And you come back, and what do you want to do? Share with your friends right away. Whatever you have, hey, look at what I got. Hey. And then it was the scene was that, and when they win, they come back and they share the thing they bring. But I remember those bubbles thing when you go like this. Today, my grandkid have one that is a machine, can do 200 million out of one charge. I said, my God, if I would have had it when I was a kid, I would have been the king of the town, because that's what kids love,
But you mentioned family. You're always with family. What, tell me, and even in the last episode, you talked about your uncle and your aunts, your grandmothers, your parents. Who is that one person that just you admired so much as a young kid? Not as a 20-year-old, but as a 10, 11, 12-year-old. Who was that person that you loved so much, other than your parents?
Yeah, my dad and mom, number one, that was my mom's brother, Fernando Fernandez. He's Norma's and Nancy's father. Because his business, he was distributing food goods to around a bunch of little towns in Ciego de Avila. And on the weekends, I could go with him, and and I always remember him shaving in the morning, waiting for him to, then he was very respected and strict, but he was funny, he always had jokes, and he taught me how to drive a commando. My first lesson to driving was with him. And we went to all these little towns, different people, different food. A lot of Haitian was working in the cane fields in Cuba, and Jamaican people from Jamaica. So, I mean, and then most of the bodegueros, the owner of the grocery stores, were from Spain. And I never forget having my breakfast, a loaf of fresh baked bread with olive oil, salt, and garlic. Beautiful. So, but I remember him because, we had those experiences, and he was always a good person with his cigar, and always have a joke. Life for him was nice, not pessimistic when he said that. He was very optimistic and give a good feeling of happiness.
Have you always remembered Nando? Would you think about him often? Yeah.
Yes. When I have tough time in Dallas, I call him that he was in New York, and cry a couple of times on the phone. But he was like my advisor in that regard, my support. I didn't have the ability to get to my parents when I did. So he was my head of the family here. Yeah. But I remember when I was the first vacation I took, I had enough money to take a vacation when I was in Dallas with your mom was to New York. I drove all the way there. I don't know how to make it. When I look back at the car that I have and driving through the hell of a rainy storm and the trucks, I said, oh my God, I was guiding off because, I don't know, first time I do that in my life to go out of Dallas and went to see him and Norma and Nancy were there and we stayed in his house and he took us around all over New York and we went to, there was a World Fair at that time and they had the Spanish pavilion that we had some wine and then we went to a German that we had beautiful German sausage with mustard. I remember those things and then going to see the statue of in the Central Park and all that, so those are great memories and there are some pictures, I don't know where they are, I need to find it that we are in his house and Delia, his wife, Nancy and Norma's mom is holding your mom. So those are good memories.
Yeah.
And that's why, I really have a very good memory of him. Then when they moved to Dallas and we went together. So that was finally, we had practically whole family that we lived together in the same block.
I refer to Dallas through your history as the rendezvous point, the place where everyone was able to gather, and then you all caravan, at least most of you all, a large group of you caravan and establish your new home, your new community in Naples, Southwest Florida. Bringing it back, in 2010, I went to the World Expo, the World Fair in Shanghai. So I can understand, I know what it's like to go to the pavilions and to experience cultures that you've never experienced through this celebration of culture and, countries. I think it was really cool for me to go experience that. So I bet it was even cooler back 50 years ago. So Papi, to transition, I want to jump into a little bit of the cultural aspects of Cuba at that time, just to kind of get a better idea of, outside of playing with your friends, your cousins, your sister, and whatnot, what are some other aspects that influenced your life and the other people in Cuba? So a question I have for you is, when it came to sports, when it came to entertainment, what was the main way of interacting with those aspects of society?
Well, music. And my sister have played recording from those vinyl albums. She loved music. She always having a party. They call it Perico Ripiao. And she bring always a lot of girls. She's always trying to fix me up with somebody. I remember she was so happy that I'm doing those things. But then, you have the quince. So practically every week or every 2 weeks, one of the girls will have a quince. So you go there, and then all kind of people go there. Then going to school, mine was basketball. My life was basketball. But the music we mainly listened, of course, that was a Cuban music, but was American music because there was a program called North America La Una, 1 o'clock, and that was Bill Haley and all the people in the music, and we used to, before we go to school, go and dance a little bit and then go on to school. So that was our life, a normal life. And it's like here, you get a magazine, you see some clothes that you like, my mom can make it for me. They got a store down in Independencia that they had nothing but American products on shirt, on clothing and things like that. And I don't know, television, we right away got color television. Going to one of the most important things, the Carnavales de Ciego de Avila were worldwide famous, competing with the one in Brazil. We had a carnival for 1 month, and every street was decorated, and we had kids help cutting this and that, and Carnaval was the main thing. And then there were parties everywhere, and you go and dance with people that were with capuchones, the coverage, you don't see their face. So it was fabulous. But now I remember that was, and you stand and all the different groups have comparsas, group of people, and one is represent this, one the other one, and you stand there and you see them going through, and it was hell of a time. At that time, people came all over to see because there was a party for a month without stopping.
What about the role of food? And we don't have to talk about all of Cuban food. We're going to talk about food, Papi, probably in every episode because that's something I love and I know it's something you love. But what role did food have in these cultural celebrations? Was it important?
Oh, it's a key because you smell roast pork, black beans, everything had to do and that was, we had several places in Ciego de Avila that was in free. One was called El Hilton, the other one was called something that had different names, people, but food was the guy that made the churro. There's a guy that was famous for that. So, but in every festivity, that's what you have selling beer in every block and food, tamales, con gris, pork, and that bean. And when I got sick with hepatitis, then my mom, instead of pork, used to start doing lamb. So we do lamb, but I remember, she made a ready meat lamb, macarones, man, she did a beautiful macarones, and of course, the pork always is the king of the meat in Cuba. And she did some steaks, thin steaks like we get here in Pyramid. But that was, the thing, and chicken, and she first, then they take the chicken and all the bones and make soup. Ooh, super. So, those are the things as a kid I remember.
I think, Papi, I think that brings us to a good stopping point for today. Food. I mean, it's lunchtime for you. I just ate a late lunch here in Spain, but we're gonna go to a flamenco show tonight.
Juniper got the flamenco dress, and I had the castañuelas. So, and I remember with Nancy going to a couple of times in Miami, there was a restaurant that has el tablero, tabloncillos. They hit the tacones, and I mean, I love it because my dad used to love that. He had to do on Saturday, he would listen to the program that was all Spanish music, and Los Chavales de España, that was his music, and music and food and
music, food, and family, and
family,
I think
that
that's
was happening.
And family are friends. It's not just your blood family; it's everyone that makes a community. Papi, let's go ahead and call it there. I think you got some food to go eat, some family to love and enjoy. But I love you, Papi. Thank you.
I love you too, mucho.
Well, that wraps it up for us here at Nuestro Papi. Hope you all thoroughly enjoyed what Papi had to share with us today. Can't wait for you all to come back and for us to have more conversations about his exceptional life. So thank you. Muchas gracias. Y hablamos después.